And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to our upper bracket finals. I do apologize that I had to cut the duct tape short, but the players just want to dive on in, and who am I to deny them that? To deny them this wonderful ZvP we have before us. And spawning in the top right hand corner of Hardwire LE, we have the Mexican Protoss player himself representing Team Super. It is Pacomike. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Hardwire LE, we have the CranKy Duckling himself, the Street Fighter El Condor, hailing from the land of Peru, living in Italia. It is Ryu. One of my boys. Oh, God. Here we go. I've been waiting for this the entire night, actively avoiding him because I believed, I had faith that Ryu would make it all the way here to the upper bracket finals. And now, if you're a fan of Zerg, we're here to see how to take down a player like Pacomike. Again, Pacomike is the best Protoss player in all of Latino America. He's very well versed, very well accomplished here. Ooh. And he can be scary. We saw in the last series, I don't think we got to see a lot of that just because the games themselves were so strange. We had a mass muta game that went into a base trade, and then we had a 12 full that kind of fell in its face. Here we should be seeing something a little bit different. Already the openers are looking very standard here by Ryu. No early pool, no early gas. Hatch gas pool is what we are seeing. And now I hope to see a little bit more of what Pacomike has to offer. One of the more interesting things is that when Pacomike went for the triple Oracle opener, he went into Blink Stalkers, but he also went into Immortals and Colossi. He invested a lot in his Robo production. So again, it looks like Pacomike is still sticking with his old school like style and meta. He hasn't really adapted to the what is currently in fashion in a way. You know, he's more of a hipster. I guess he doesn't want to be mainstream is what I'm saying here. So very interesting, very interesting. So I'm curious to see if he's going to whip out something older like Glaive Adepts again, like he has in the past, or if he does end up going into Skytoss. We shall see. So far we do have a Stargate opener, nothing too crazy, it's pretty standard all things considered. Meanwhile, Slowlings are going to slip past these Adepts, and we are seeing a full scout here by Ryu. Who needs Overlords when you have Slowlings, is what I have to say. Here we go. We do see the Stargate being scouted here in the end. Ryu going to be sticking around until he sees the first unit, and there we go. We have a Void Ray first, not an Oracle. So Pacomike is more concerned with denying scouting than he is with dealing damage. Meanwhile, across the map, that first Adept is going to try and get the creep tumor. It looks like, ooh, he will get the tumor in the end. Very nicely done. Very annoying for the Zerg player, but he does end up losing his Adept for it. Meanwhile, now with Link Speed, Ryu, he goes across the map. Is the wall a wall? It is. He's just going to confirm that, just make sure that everything is on the up and up. He still has that one Ling in the main base, just being as annoying as possible, and he sticks around long enough to recognize that it's going to be an Oracle as the next unit out of the Stargate. So now he's going to be feeling pretty safe. He's like, oh, okay, you're not going into double Stargate Void Ray or anything crazy like that. You're probably going to go into a Twilight Council, but just to make sure, I'm going for Pneumatized Carapace. I'm going for Overlord Speed. I have an Overlord outside your main base, ready to dive in, hoping to avoid your Void Ray. The Void Ray of Pacomike is trying to find it, and he did just check outside his base, but there was nothing there. Again, Ryu does actively hide it away, pretty far away, but again, not too far because Overlord Speed will make up for that, so we can just dive on in. As the Void Ray is still trying to hunt down that Overlord. Meanwhile, we are seeing Glaive Adepts. Ooh, that's a lot of gateways behind this. 5 gates in total. This isn't all in. We can see Pacomike does want to expand, but this is supposed to catch your opponent off guard. Ryu probably feeling pretty good about seeing this. He's like, oh, okay, you're getting a third base. There's no all-in coming my way. And now with Pneumatized Carapace, with Overlord Speed, he dives on in and he will see everything. Sees the Twilight Council, sees the gateways as well, sees everything researching, so he knows it's not going to be DTs, and he even confirms the lack of a 4th gas in the natural. So now he knows 100%, this is Glaive Adepts. And immediately the wall is going to be a wall. He is setting on up here. He has a drone to fully wall off so the adepts cannot break into the natural base, and roaches are on the way. So this is a beautiful response here. He also gets confirmation he had a spotter ling. It does get killed, so he sees the adepts as they come across the map. And again, as long as nothing is coming through this kind of this choke point, he should be able to wall off. Here, the first shade of Pacomike headed towards not the natural, actually headed towards the third. Doesn't commit to the shade, gonna be chipping away at this fourth base. Yo, he could force a cancel here if Ryu doesn't take this seriously. So far, so good. He keeps the fourth alive, keeps all of his drones alive. At the same time, we do have a stasis trap in the main base. Only gets 2 drones. Ryu was able to respond in time. And Ryu holds. What's important though is that Pacomike didn't throw away his adepts. So this is the scary thing. If he commits with the adepts and if he loses everything, he literally has nothing. He has no army. He has a Void Ray. A Void Ray and an Oracle. So he has to be very, very selective about when he commits to a fight, when he goes in, when he tries to deal economic damage. He cannot throw it away. Not yet, as he is going for Blink and eventually transition into a more Blink Stalker-based army composition. Once again, Ryu goes in and he scouts with an Overseer. This time he zooms on in, sees the production, sees that the Twilight Council is researching again, so he knows it's still going to be ground toss. He knows that with all these gases, it's probably still going to be Blink Stalkers. Oh my god, meanwhile the adepts are trying to find some damage and they actually commit to the shade. Bold move, puppy, bold move. He does get 5 drones, so he does get some economic damage done. 7 drones in total, not bad. Meanwhile, the adepts actually shaded into the natural base as well. Ryu was not ready for it this time. He was not anticipating a second follow-up push. So because of that, a lot of damage is being done. Well worth it here for Pacomike. 9 drones falling. And not quite a stasis trap as well. But what's important is that it wasn't just about getting the drone kills. Looking at the vision of Pacomike, he saw the infestation pit, he sees the Hydra den, he knows that Ryu wants to go into Hydras and Lurkers. So he's getting ready for that by going into a Robotics Bay and I imagine Disruptors. So a very nice response here in the end by Pacomike. Nice scouting by both players, to be honest, overall. I'd be surprised if Pacomike moves out with this army now, though. He is working on a War Prism, and maybe he's hoping that Ryu is going to be greedy and go too quickly into Hydras, because you will die if you do that. Unfortunately for Pacomike, Ryu is sticking with Roach Ling. He is taking towards Lurkers, but again, he's not really wasting any resources on Hydras at the moment. He wants to wait for that opportune moment. It's making nothing but roaches and lings. And roach speed. Sorry, burrow. Tunneling claws. There we go. Burrow and tunneling claws. So I love this. Ryu does this quite often, and I want to try and adapt this myself. I know a lot of people can look at this and be like, ugh, that's a lot of roaches. Is that really what he wants? Well, no, but that's why he's investing in a way for them to actually deal damage and actually harass, as he's going to be burrowing his roaches and, you know, getting into those mineral lines. Meanwhile, here we go. We do see the main army of Ryu distracting his into the miles. Ooh, he does get the Void Ray as it tries to retreat. Nice pick off there by Ryu. Again, distracting that main army as we do have a hit squad sneaking into the main. At the same time, ooh, we do have some Adept Harass, but the Burrow is being used to great effect. Every single drone is being saved here. Ah, spoke too soon. 2 drones do get picked off, but again, very nice use. Once again, we have the Burrow. Unfortunately, the gas mining drones are a little bit exposed, so not ideal here, not ideal. A lot of workers are going down. Another burrow. I think someone was saying this earlier, like, yo, shouldn't burrow be used to, like, defend against harass? I mean, Ryu. Maybe he was listening to the stream. I think it was last week when he said that, when someone said that. Meanwhile, we do have a little bit of roach harass here. It does get cleaned up, but that's okay because we want to get rid of our roaches. Our roaches, they've served their purpose. They allow us to live so that we can move on to better pastures. Lurkers are now on the way. Hydras are coming out as well. We have a much more refined army. The biggest thing that we're missing right now are Vipers. Hive is still in the way, unfortunately. You could argue this is a little bit late by Ryu, but I mean, taking up, it's not an easy thing to do. So yeah, you could argue a little bit late, but at least it is on the way nonetheless. Of course, Vipers are kind of the hard counter of Disruptors. Meanwhile, another wave of Roaches getting into the main base. No cannons, no detection. Uh-oh. And here we go. The Roaches reveal themselves. More probes are falling left and right. Pacomike has to respond. More Roaches here towards the third base location as well. Again, this is just a great way to clear up supply and a great way to clear it up for those Vipers. Oh my god. This is actually pretty huge. The Robot Bay goes down. Split. Oh, we even have a split in the end. Only 2 Roaches go down to the Purification Nova. Quickly checking. We don't even have extended Thermal Lance. As 11 probes go down. Great harassment here by Ryu. He even has a couple of Roaches borrowed. There we go. They finally get cleaned up. It took a long time. Cannons are forced to be thrown down here in the main base. Another big investment here for Pacomike. And all that Ryu is doing is he is buying time for him to refine this army. +3 range on the way. Seismic spines on the way as well. We have more bases being taken. We're droning up. We have 82 workers, which is honestly a pretty good count. And Ryu is ready for that big engagement. Pacomike, not as much. As instead of rebuilding the robos, he's going for... Oh my god! He is going for Sky Toss. Nice Novas there. 3 Lurkers get picked off. Oh, 4th Lurker as well. Ryu bleeding a lot here. Again, he really wasn't anticipating the army to be as aggressive as it was. And very nice pickoffs by Pacomike. Meanwhile, speaking of pickoffs, we have a couple of Yoinks here. I love it. The detection was actually taken out. Even a couple of Immortals. We have 2 more Yoinks remaining, and there we have them. 2 more Disruptors go down. Only a single one remaining here with this army. Oof. So we trade tit for tat. Ryu lost 4 Lurkers, but Pacomike lost 2 Disruptors and 2 Immortals. So kind of an even back and forth here. But again, though, what's important is that Pacomike wants to get rid of this army to slowly go into this Sky Toss. But this is all being scattered by the borrowed Roaches. I don't even think this is intentional. But great moves here by Ryu. He knows he needs a Spire. Corruptors are going to be on the way soon. Ooh. First Nova goes off. Again, there is only 1 Nova. Ah, nice feedbacks as well. And one of the Vipers. The other 2 still have plenty of energy, so we have to be a little bit careful. Here comes the Disruptor. Another Nova goes off. Ooh, getting a lot of Hydras. Oh my god. Pacomike just out-controlling Ryu here again. The feedbacks, the Novas. Ryu does cancel the 4th base, and now Ryu can focus on the main fight. He still has 2 more Ducks with his army. Oh my god, never mind. I know. Pacomike with the misclick actually feedbacked the wrong Viper, so the high energy Viper was able to get the Yoink off in the end. Meanwhile, a bit of a Zealot run by, but with Spines, with defensive Lurkers, Ryu is fine. Hatchery getting dangerously close there towards the end. Carriers are on the way, but that doesn't matter because we already have Corruptors. Bit of a Zealot run in the main base is going to get cleaned up as well. And we are going into the late game. But yeah, it does feel as if Ryu is already there for the most part. We got a lot of Lurkers, we got some anti-air and Hydras. Looking at the units tab, how many carriers do we have? We have 2. 2 is not going to be enough. We do have some Storms though. Storm was researched and we have a lot of High Templar. No Archons, and that is a little bit worrisome. The Yoinks. Ooh, we do have a Yoink on a carrier, question mark? I don't know about that, mate. Another Yoink on a second carrier, but the Storms are connecting with everything, and sure, these carriers may fall, but what about the Ground Army? That's okay, we have Lurkers. So yeah, we got plenty of Lurkers. Lurker Corruptor is the name of the game here for Ryu. It's going fine, man. Oof. Again, maybe I'm speaking too soon. what are our Vipers looking like? That's kind of the big question for me. We have 2 Vipers in total. Honestly, I don't think this is enough. I would like to see maybe 2 more. Meanwhile, massive Zalarambai is going across the map. At the same time, Lurkers are harassing this mineral line of Pacomike. Both of them trying to break each other. I'm loving these 2 defensive Lurkers by Ryu, by the way. He just keeps rotating them between the bases wherever they need to be. Meanwhile, this space is just not mining. Eventually, I'm sure Pacomike will be able to reclaim it. Maybe. Maybe. As there we go. We have a couple of Stalkers being morphed in. We have detection as well. Pacomike finally going to clean this up. But what about the main army? Here we go. The Yoinks come in. Up. Yeah, we just didn't have enough Lurkers here. A lot of them were left behind. So Ryu a little bit premature with those abducts. Oh, just a little bit. Meanwhile, the other interesting thing is that he isn't rushing into a Greater Spire. Like, Greater Spire's on the way now, but it took a while for him to get into this. He is still relying a lot on these Lurkers. Something that some players don't really do. They just try to tech up as quickly as possible, but Ryu was taking his time. Oh my god. Oh my god! Oh my god, the Lurkers are just going to town here. They actually killed those disruptors before the Novas go off. I didn't think it would be possible. There are just so many spines. At the same time, Zelds do cancel a base here. Very nicely done. But when it comes to the main army, it feels like Ryu is gaining a little bit of ground. Zalarambai just slamming into that Lurker wall once again. I'm a little bit concerned because Ryu, he just hasn't been able to really hinder the economy of Pacomike too much, to be honest. We need more Vipers, Poppy. We need more Vipers. Here you go. The Vipers come in, but we do see them being focused on one after the other. Blinding Cloud is going to help a little bit, but is it going to be enough? Because the Archons are getting on top of these Lurkers. They all go down. Never mind. There was detection, but it just wasn't enough DPS. And with that, Ryu barely takes this fight. GG gets called, and Ryu takes game number 1. Oh my god. 4 Archons push in and they died in like a matter of seconds. I was shocked to see how well +3 Lurkers did in that situation. There was also a moment where Ryu just dove on in, Novas went out, and the Lurkers killed the disruptors before the Nova connected. I was like, there's no abducts, but he didn't need the abducts. It was crazy. You don't see that too often. GG. And Ryu takes the lead, a bit of a 1-0 lead. This, as a reminder, is a best of 3, so Ryu only needs 1 more, uno mas, to move on to the grand finals. Pacomike needs 1 more to take it to the ace match. All right. And now we're getting ready for game número 2. Here we go. Looks like it's going to be one of the larger maps. Looks like we're diving into Pride of Altaris. I'm interested because I feel like this map is usually vetoed, especially because the gold base is usually abusable by the Zerg, not as much the Protoss. So we'll see if Pacomike has anything cheeky in store for us. Will he himself go for the gold? I hope not. I don't think he can get away with it. Oh boy. As we are loading on in, you can hear the beeps, people in the chat. We're loading in to game number 2. And spawning in the top left-hand corner of Pride of Altaris LE, we have the Peruvian Zerg player himself representing the CranKy Ducklings. It is Ryu. And spawning In the bottom right hand corner, part of Altadis ALE, we have the Mexican Protoss player himself representing Team Super. It is Pacomike. Paquito himself. So that was a pretty explosive game number 1. I was very impressed that Pacomike was able to deal as much damage as he did with those adepts. I think he got, especially because he came in with 2 waves, around 20 workers in total. So not bad, not bad over the course of that game. Unfortunately, after the adept harass, he wasn't really able to accomplish much with his main army. Like, Ryu did a really great job at taking up and going into Roach Ravager, and then from there going into Lurker Viper. I was worried that maybe Ryu didn't have enough Vipers, but what he lacked in Vipers, he made up for in Lurkers. Like, that's where his gas was being spent. A mass amount of Lurkers. And I was worried that maybe the transition to Skytoss would be able to counterbalance that. But Pacomike never really got to get into that Skytoss. He never got that critical mass of carriers or even Void Rays. It was a very awkward transition for Pacomike. Not as hard as we usually see. Harder transition, I mean. So very well done there in the end by Ryu. We'll see if he can do it again, or we'll see if Pacomike switches things up here. As a reminder, he did go for a Stargate into Glaive build. I don't know if we want to see. I don't want to see that again here in game 2. You know, I know that Protoss, they have a lot of builds available to them, so they can kind of mix things up. I would be afraid for Pacomike if he tries it again. Boy. Here we go. Meanwhile, there we go. Once again, we do have a Stargate opener from Pacomike. This doesn't mean he has to do the same thing. He can do a lot from here. He can go double Stargate into fast carriers. He can go triple Oracle into Blink Stalkers. He could go into Glaive Adepts, I guess, if he wanted to. But again, the world is his oyster for the most part. Just a safe and standard way to open. As likewise, Ryu is going for a hatch gas pool. Third base is pretty standard as well. Not taking the gold, little bit of a feels bad, man. I'm sure we would all love to see Ryu take that gold base. But alas, it is not going to be the case. Not here, not here. And yeah, we'll see where this goes. Once again, he goes for a Void Ray first. If you remember last time, he went for the Void Ray, and oh, we have a full surround. Lane goes down. I was gonna say last time the Void Ray had a hard time finding this Overlord. We'll see if he has a little bit better luck this time. Fingers crossed. Meanwhile, we had a little bit of a Link Scout, so Ryu already knows about the Void Ray. He already knows about the Stargate. Oh boy, as once again he's going from Stargate into Twilight Council. Still has all 3 of it, still has his gases in his main. He's taking the gas at the natural base. This looks like he wants to go into Glaives again, to be honest. Oh boy. Meanwhile, Ryu trying to get eyes on this. He does have Pneumatize Carapace on the way once again. His Overlord is in position. He has successfully avoided this Void Ray, so he will be able to get in and see everything, pappy. Pacomike? He's gonna be taking a lot of damage on the, oh my god, no, he loses the Void Ray for 2 drones. Not like this, Pacomike, not like this. Oh god, and it is gonna be that Glaive build again. Ryu is going to go in with his Overlord, and once again, just like the previous game, he sees Ev. Not ideal here for Pacomike. I mean, what I will say is that the Glaive Adepts last game, they still dealt damage, you know? They didn't lose Pacomike the game. Even though they got scouted, he was still able to get some value out of them. So, you know, I guess maybe he feels like maybe if he controls it a little bit better, he can get even more damage. Oh boy. Here we go. The Adepts are rolling on in. The Queens are here to meet them. They're going to try and shade in towards the natural, but the wall is a wall. The Adepts do not find a way in. And just like that, Pacomike holds against the first wave. Ryu holds against the first wave. Pacomike is going to once again try and go into, I imagine, Glaive Adepts. We do have a Blink Stalkers. We do have a Forge on the way for +1. We should be seeing Blink being researched soon here. So more of the same here from Pacomike. From what I can tell, especially because he has all 4 gases, he could go into charge, but I'd be shocked if that happens. Meanwhile, he commits to a shade. Once again, the roaches are a little bit out of position. We got a couple of drones are gonna be going down. I think 1 in the end. What? Tries to shade in towards the natural base, but the wall is once again a wall. We have a kill on the Evo chamber, but that did buy a lot of time. The Adepts, they want those drones. It looks like finally some drones are falling. They commit to shade into the main base as well. But Ryu, only losing 3 workers? This is okay. This is okay for Ryu. So once again, that these are unfortunate shades. Oh, these 2 Adepts in the main base do get a couple more drone kills. 5 in total. 5 drones for 18 Adepts. That's not what we want to see. That's not what we want to see. This is triggering a mass counterattack, and I don't know if Pacomike can hold here. He has Stalkers. Blink is on the way. +1 is on the way. Are these upgrades going to finish in time? Because Ryu, he's setting his Overlords as well. He's setting up a creep highway, mate. The counterattack is real. Queens, Roaches, Ravagers, everything that Ryu has, even a couple of Lings behind this. It's Pacomike. Not only is he not ready for this, he just doesn't see it coming. He doesn't know what's at his doorstep. A mass swarm of Zerg. Oh boy, to meet the Zerg, he does have 1 Immortal, and he has a lot of sentries for force field, so maybe he can hold on. Oh boy. Again, Ryu is preparing. The longer this goes on, the better it is for Pacomike. He's getting a 2nd Immortal, and Ryu is droning behind this. It looks like he has given up on the push. He's like, you know what? This is not going to work out. I'm just going to leave you be and drone. I say that as he comes back. Snipes a couple of units here and there. A pylon, a shield battery, a cannon. Behind this, Hydra Den's thrown down, Lurker Den as well. So Ryu once again wants to go into Hydra, Lurker, Viper, just like the previous game. He's taking up as much as he can. He's taking up 4th base. He's droning. And Pacomike, because of how poorly his Glaive Adepts went, he's just forced to chill here and stay at home. So this is where I have to think about like being in Pacomike's shoes, right? In this scenario, is it a wise choice to go into Disruptors, or is it better to go straight into Skytoss? Disruptors are safer, don't get me wrong, but do we want to be safe, or do we want to try and get ahead? You know, like if you have confidence that Ryu isn't going to be able to push in and kill you, then maybe going into Stargates would be a better choice, to be honest. Because we all know that he wants to get there in the end. He wants to get into those carriers. The sooner, maybe the better. It's hard to say, just because Vipers do change everything. If you go too quickly into carriers, and if you don't have enough to protect them, then you're just going to lose them anyway. So I do not envy Pacomike's position, I'll be honest. It's a tough position to be in. Oh my god. Has the first Nova? It's pretty good. 5 roaches go down. Not bad, not bad. Again, Ryu wanted to get rid of his roaches. He's working on his own lurkers, lurker upgrades, adaptive talons on the way. Vipers, sucking on some of them buildings, gathering that energy, getting that youth juice. And we'll see if Pacomike can maybe try and hit a timing here before too many lurkers come out. There are only 3 lurkers on top of the ramp, 4 lurkers on top of the ramp. So it's not impossible to break in, but a lot of it is going to rely on his purification novas. Here we go, Ryu's coming in. We do have the yoink on one of these Colossi. We see the blink on forward though, and ooh, he loses both of his Vipers in the process. Does miss the Disruptor in the end as well. I do think that Ryu was trying to get those Immortals, just an unfortunate misclick. He is going to be forced to rebuild those Vipers, and with the death of those Vipers, Pacomike, he's holding on. Oh my god, that's a lot of that's a lot of hallucinated Stalkers. What is the point of this? I don't... What? I mean, I guess it distracts Ryu a little bit here, but not for too long, as Zealot Run By gets cleaned up, just runs into a wall of roaches at the same time. 2 roaches were able to kill 8 probes at the 3rd. Oh boy. Pacomike just can't catch a break. He does have a worker lead though, to be fair. Ryu's drone count isn't where it should be, but he's already got +3 range on the way. He's rebuilt his Vipers, he's got his lurkers, like checking the upgrades. He has both lurker upgrades as well. Let's see if it's gonna be enough. Here we go, Ryu, he's sharking for those joints. Meanwhile, Pacomike has to babysit his Colossus as best he can. Oh god! Ooh. And there we have them. 2 Colossus just get shut down in the blink of an eye. And Pacomike only has 3 Disruptors left. Ah! Immortal goes down. He's only got 1 Immortal left. We do have Storm, to be fair. Storm does change the dynamic a little bit. See the blink going forward. 1 feedback already on these Vipers. We have 2 more yoinks though, and there we have them on those Disruptors. They go down immediately. We have 1 Nova that does find a pretty juicy connection, but that was the final Storm. Without any Storms, without any Novas, it's not going to stop Ryu from just advancing on forward, leapfrogging with as many lurkers as possible. And Pacomike, he just can't do anything about this. He loses every single high-tech unit, literally every single unit, down to only Stalkers. Stalkers are good. They're not that good. He's trying to get into Skytels. There is that Stargate. There's that Fleet Beacon. But again, is this too late? Zealot Run By runs into a wall of a wall of spines and lurkers. Does nothing. And Ryu just dominated that fight, and he's just gonna keep on pushing from here. Alas, there's not much here that Pacomike can do. He does have Storms to try and stem the tide. Oh, but those lurkers are just doing so much damage. The +3 lurkers. Ah. Like, maybe with Disruptors you can like get a couple of lucky Novas, but like, look how many lurkers there are. What the hell? 18. Who does this? Who makes this many lurkers? 18 lurkers. They take down the base. At the same time, we do have a bit of a Zealot Rabbi, but there are lurkers at home as well. We can just yoink everything. We can just yoink it all. It doesn't even matter. Just get everything in there. GG gets called. Ryu takes the series 2-0 in a pretty dominant fashion. Wow. Very impressive play there. Very similar as well, both games. I mean, to be fair, Zerg is a reactive race, and for Pacomike to do the same thing 2 games in a row, would we expect anything different? we didn't, but we got something a little bit different. Ryu, he was looking so good with his Lurker Viper control. It did seem just a little bit better than Pacomike's, unfortunately. There were some good Purification Novas, but some good Novas just isn't enough to make a game for yourself. And with that, GG, well played. Congratulations. Ryu moves on to the Grand Finals. And our lower bracket finals is already ready for us. Wow. This tournament is going by pretty quick, to be honest. There we go. Stop the capitalization a little bit, but there you have it. GG, well played. Congratulations to Ryu. He moves on. And Pacomike still has a second chance. He has another opportunity to redeem himself. He's going into a rematch. Exclamation mark B in the chat if you guys want to have a look at the bracket yourselves. Eon was eliminated from the tournament by the Zerglord 2-0. Again, kind of what we expected. Eon did take down Alexander, which is impressive. But alas, he didn't stand a chance against the Zerglord. He was just a little bit too strong. And now, a rematch. A pretty exciting one. If you remember, earlier today we casted the Zerglord versus Pacomike, and the Zerglord, game 1 he went mass muta, game 2 he went for a 12 pull. None of that worked, but they were very like purposeful builds and compositions that the Zerglord was going for, and that isn't par for course. Like, he can do other things. He doesn't just have to go mass muta. He doesn't just have to cheese with early pulls. He can play straight up. He can play more standard. He can play Ling Bane, Roach Ravager. He can even play Lurkers if he wants to. If he wants to, though.